Hey, welcome back. My name is Ima Hogg, and my dog on the floor over there is named Charles Barkley. And today we're going to discuss season 2, episode 10, gambling. With the move to Las Vegas days away, Kody tells the younger children, and the Browns begin to pack. All right, let's get into it. Welcome to the podcast, Sister Wives, a red flag rewatch. This is the podcast for disenchanted fans of Sister Wives. Fans who fell in love with the Brown family, watched their precious kids grow up, and became enchanted with all the love, only to be told it was all a lie. Nothing was as it seemed. We were bamboozled, fooled, duped, tricked, conned, swindled, hoodwinked. What did we miss? Where did it go wrong? Come help me find out as we watch from the beginning. So before I get into it, this episode should come with a warning because kids are crying. There is chaos. Stuff is flying. Sirens are going off. It is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. I mean, you're going to see every single one of the kids crying, and you're going to see Kody being an asshat and being unorganized. This whole thing is just stress-inducing and gives you anxiety just watching. There was a post by one of the camera crew people that moved them down to Vegas and filmed the whole process. And he said that Kody was a quote unquote broke loser. And he said that the crew had to help them move and pay for everything. And they paid for their rentals when they got to Vegas. I believe it. So I'm sure that crew was pissed. Like, here's a sound guy showing up with the microphone. And he's like, well, I'm going to do the sound. And they're like, no, you got to move all. You got to move Robyn's entire house in one day, and oh, it's not packed. And because all through this episode, you see random people, you catch random people in the corners and moving boxes, and that's the crew. The crew is helping them move. So the crew said that they had to take their own cars to Vegas back and forth. But one guy was pissed about the whole thing. He said that Kody was a broke loser. He had no money and he was just worthless, which I believe it. And I just don't see imposing on people like that. It may just be like the way I was brought up is you just don't impose on people. You need to think about what you're doing and how it affects other people. But Kody don't care. It's like, yeah, I don't have any money for rentals. And my tires are blowing left and right. You gonna pay for them too? And he just sucks. Just sucks. And I'm going to say it one time and I'm not going to say it no more. I think that none of this was necessary and that Kody and Robyn should have just went to Vegas by themselves. And the kids followed after, like the following summer, a few months later. I think that would have solved a lot of their problems. I think they could have found a place to live. It would have been a more healthy thing to do, a more responsible parent thing to do, instead of all this chaos that's ensuing here. I mean, it's just irresponsible. And I still maintain that this is something that Robyn wanted from the beginning. I'm not going to say it anymore because I've said it about 15 times. This is something that Robyn wanted from the beginning because stepdaddy Paul already lives there. That's where her family is. So she wanted to start a family with Kody, and I think she held that over his head and said, I'm not going to have a baby with you until we move down to where my family is. And I think that was something that pushed Kody even more. And it's really, really fishy that they get into this rental where they're all smushed together in this one house. And they say, oh, we decided that Robyn should get the first house. And look at that. There's a house that's in the school district she wants, and it's right there. And she is in it by that Friday. They get there on Tuesday. She is in that house by Friday. So you can't tell me that that wasn't pre-planned in some way, that stepdaddy Paul didn't have his hand in some of that. But anyway, so they start out the episode and they're doing a flashback to all the good times in the last year. They're just showing random scenes through the first and second season. Kody says they finished their investigation and they turned over their findings to the district attorney. We've decided as a family that we're going to have to move to Nevada. And we told the older kids, but we have not told the little kids yet. And this is exhausting, so sad, and totally not necessary, in my opinion. So if he wants to talk about bomb dropping, this is the biggest bomb he's ever dropped. He sits all of his kids down in this living room and he says, all right, everybody listen. All right, listen up. I need you to listen. And what's funny is Meri and Christine both hold up their hands and they've got two fingers up, two fingers. And suddenly all the kids get quiet. And I think that's like a secret symbol to be quiet or you're going to get your ass beat. Because both of them do that and the kids get quiet. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. He says, all right, I need you guys to help me with this. He does this. We've discussed this before. Like whenever he was talking about getting Robyn into the family, he does this affirmative head shaking. All right, all right. And he's like trying to get them to agree with him. And he says, who likes being a family? And all the kids raise their hands. He is already turning into douche canoe before we even start. But he says, I like it a lot. All right. Are we a special family? Do you guys feel special in this family? So we want to keep this family together. Nothing can break it because of the circumstances. And because of that, we're going to have to move to Las Vegas. And all the kids, all their eyes get big. They're all truly shocked. Like they had no idea. They have really kept this a secret from the kids. Gwen says, I like this home. And she says, you are out of your mind. And Gabe is sitting next to her and he seems okay. He's like, huh, okay. Like he's not really too upset about it. He's open to it. Garrison is crying, straight up crying. Peyton is upset. You could see the shock on his face. He's actually sitting next to Kody in a chair, and you can see his face the entire time that Kody is talking, and he is truly shocked. Kody says to Garrison, listen, buddy, I get it. Understand. This place is magical. It's a special place. What's magical about our home is we're moving so we can stay a family. Our family is magical. And Isabel, she is being very sensible. She says, when is this going to happen? When are we going to move? Kody says, okay, great question. We apologize that we've had to be kind of secretive and careful about this, but we're going to move in 3 days. And everybody gasps, shocks, starts crying. Even Gabe, who was kind of on board, is like, what the fuck? I mean, he really is traumatizing these kids. I mean, that is a lot, a lot. Huge mood shift. You could feel it. Everybody in the room, even Brianna is sobbing. Like they are upset. All the kids are crying. There is tears. There is snot. I mean, these kids are upset. Cody's looking at Garrison. He says, okay, son, I understand. I know it's not fair. I'm very sorry, son. I can't have my family live here in fear every day that we're here. Our family goes deeper and deeper into fear of what could happen. We don't want to move, but since we're moving, Vegas is the perfect place. And he tells the camera, I think that the people in Vegas are going to be a lot more tolerant. And he looks at Garrison and he says, what are you worried about? And this man is just scum. This whole conversation was just ridiculous. And then he says, guess what? You can't tell anybody else. This whole thing is breaking my heart because I've told my children. I'm upsetting their whole worlds, and I've told them now that they can't tell their friends. It's kind of devastating. What do? I have to continue on and emotionally messed up about it. I'm having a hard time selling it to them. So he's got a notebook and a piece of paper, and he's taken down observations and opinions. And he says, so who wants to go first? And he says, after I told the little kids and we've had this fallout of emotion, all these tears, all this heartbreak, I have to readdress it to the older kids. I wanted to address the concerns. And then he says something. He says, I'm trying so hard to keep myself from being defensive. Like he's getting a little angry here. What else could that mean? To keep yourself from being defensive. That's got to be what that means. So these kids are traumatized. They're crying. There's snot running down their nose. They are just traumatized, and you're worried about becoming defensive. He is something else. Isabel is hugging her mom. She's sobbing. Isabel hugs Leon. All these kids are just falling apart. And they're all worried about Mariah. It's like the older girls have ganged up together and they're trying to fight for Mariah to be able to stay. And Maddie says, well, what's Mariah going to do? And Kody says on the couch, he says, Mariah didn't have a positive experience in public school, and so she actually went back to the private church school, and now we're moving to Las Vegas, move her completely away from that realm, and so she has a significant amount to lose, so to speak. Kody answers Maddie by saying, wouldn't it be fun for all of you guys to go to the same school? Well, they had the option to all go to the same school there in Vegas, and Leon still didn't choose it. Wouldn't it be fun for all you guys to go to the same school? That's not a good answer. And Aspen's fighting for Leon and saying there's nothing there for her. She wants to be with her people. Did you guys see how weird she went with our family just going to public school? Robyn says, well, what do you guys think we should do? And Aspen says, I think she should be able to choose because the reason she wants to be here, the same kids with the same religion and stuff, and that's not down there. And Maddie, I took a picture of her. She's looking right at Kody, and she is looking him straight in the eye, and she is pissed, like defiant, like she has realized at the age of 15 that this man is worthless. And Logan's looking at him like he is not impressed. with him at all. At all. Kody says, I need to remember a very important mantra. This is very important that you realize where we go one, we go all. When you guys are 18 and graduated, you can make your own choices. But in this case, we go as a family. And Leon, she's got a list. She says, I really need to finish out the school year. I know you guys think of me as a child and I need to be with you guys, that you guys need to raise me. I don't feel like a child. And I made a list of things. Then where they made a mistake is the number one thing is that she has to help with the school dance. If you're pleading your case, you don't make it about something as trivial as the school dance. And I know the school dance is important to her, but you say something like that and it just seems like such a trivial thing. If I was managing that list, I'd be like, that needs to be at the bottom of your list, girl. You shouldn't have started with that. And she says, I can't leave my friends to take care of this dance. Kody says, Mariah brings me a list of all the things that are important, and they are valid. Staying for the dance, staying because of a friend, staying because of school, staying because of church, and all these are very, very valid things to a teenager. Yet I still have to say, listen, the one thing, the main thing is that we keep the family together, and that trumps all of it. It was very valid stuff. It was very important. And Leon looks at Kody and says, I really need you to consider this really hard because I really need to be clear. Kody says, look, I understand the importance of your spiritual social network. I understand your need to do it. I understand your need for your emotional and spiritual sovereignty, but that's not something I'm comfortable indulging until you're 18. I feel like God has given me the responsibility to keep you under my house. So my belief is that you should be in our home at least until you're 18 and graduated, if not beyond that till when you're married. That's my belief. And because it's my responsibility to God for it, I feel like that you should come with us. My job I was given by God to do was to take care of you in this realm and have you in my home until you're married. He's on the couch now. He says it was very easy to be empathetic with her because I get it. I'm leaving all my friends and my church, and I'm going through a very similar experience. I'm leaving my career. So it's easy to understand her. I just need to be patient and just say, sweetheart, come along, come on, come with us. So basically, what he's saying here is God gave him this job to take care of Leon until she's married, because he feels like girls cannot take care of themselves, that they have to get married so that man can take care of them. So their fathers take care of them up until a man comes along and then he takes care of them. Because women can't take care of themselves. That's totally what that means. He says, all right, he says it's Saturday night right now. We have all day tomorrow and we're supposed to take off Monday morning. Dayton's birthday is tomorrow, so we got to make sure we do a little bit of something for him. We're going to do a party later for him, but then on Monday we're going to take off in the morning. These people, so now they got to pack their entire 5,000 square foot house in one day. And Meri says, when Kody and Robyn and I went down to Las Vegas, we found 4 great houses that we were going to get, and unfortunately they fell through, so we're not going to be able to get those houses. We don't even know we're going to land as far as where we're going to live. So again, I maintain that's very irresponsible. And why are they doing this? This is just borderline child abuse at this point. You can't throw 16 kids in a 4-bedroom rental with 5 adults, an infant. I mean, good God. Robyn said, this is scaring the crap out of me. Every time I start packing stuff, I get really angry and emotional. I was actually angry at God a little bit. Like, why are you letting this happen to us? I'm the one who believes in miracles. And so for me, I'm like, you can make this go away. You can fix this, God. And I always pay for those kind of thoughts later. He always humbles me. And I don't know how Robyn can sit there with herself while all those kids are breaking down and snotting and crying, and she just be fine with it. I don't know how she sleeps with herself at night. And she says, I'm going to miss this home until I'm in another home. It just feels like we're jumping without a parachute. It kind of feels like that. And Dayton mimics a fall and a splat. He can be funny sometimes. And Kody's coming in the door and he says, hey, how you guys doing? It's sad. He says, it's sad that Robyn and I have lived here only long enough for me to be able to pack my stuff in a suitcase, one suitcase. And that's because you probably go back to the big house where everybody's washing and ironing your clothes, and that doesn't happen at Robyn's house. You just go over there to sleep. Robyn says, I just barely emptied out some boxes of this room and put it away. I mean, like within the last few months. Seriously, this is like my 4th move in 2 years. I was just starting to relax. I thought we were here. I seriously just finished. And why did it take her so long? She wasn't working. Her kids were in school. What was she doing all damn day? And so then she starts crying, and this is cry number 11. 11. She hasn't cried in a few episodes, if you've noticed, since the beginning of season 2, but now she's crying now. Cry number 11. And then if you look behind her in the bathroom, there are some words. And I took a picture of it for YouTube, so maybe you can make them out. I couldn't make them out. But the last sentence said, I am so happy about it! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I am so happy about it. That's what was on her mirror. What is she so freaking happy about? I don't understand. Kody said everybody's a little bit heavy right now. The mood is just so melancholy. It feels like it's a little heavier than I imagined it would be. Robyn's still crying, and she's got this high-pitched cry, like only dogs can hear her now. So much so that production puts up closed captioning so you can hear what she's saying. She is really putting one on there. And Kody says, so I'm trying to throw my clothes together, get everything packed in Robyn's room, and I hear Dayton and Aurora fighting. He's looking at Aurora, he's holding Dayton back, and he says, okay, stop. I'm not going to allow you guys to do this. Everybody's stressed out. The kids are all stressed out. We're stressed out. But it doesn't mean we can turn on each other. We have to be loving and be in a safe place for each other. It shows Dayton, and he is now in his room, and he is laying on his bed, and he's got this big bazooka Nerf gun. He is guarding his space. He is holding down the fort. He is just like, I don't like this. I'm going to shoot anybody that comes into my room. This sucks. Don't you dare come in here. Oh, I'm sure the cameraman was like, oh my Lord. That was funny though. Goes to Janelle's house, and Logan is helping his mama. He's standing right by her. And she says, I'm going to start a box for books. And he goes, well, I've already packed all the books except for cookbooks at this point. And Janelle's like, yeah, well, I guess I don't even care what kind of books we bring. He goes, well, I've already packed the other books. So Daddy Logan is already on it. And Gabe is sitting at the counter, and he's got on his finger, his right second finger, he's got a little toy army boot on his finger. It looks like he bites his nails. And he says, I kind of want to stay. Maybe not. It's iffy. So Gabe is kind of open to it, which is good. And Hunter walks in. There's pizza boxes on the counter, and he walks over to the pizza boxes. And he says, I just want to grade my head against this cheese grater. Which isn't funny, but it's a little bit funny. Janelle smiles, and she's like trying not to laugh. And she says, today's not a good day for Hunter. That was funny. I love Hunter. And it shows Meri and Leon, and they're finally packing up Leon's room because I think Leon has resigned to the fact this is happening. So she's packing, and Meri's very organized. She's got all these boxes. She's got her tape. She says, we moved in this house when Mariah was 10. Mariah said, and you were 35. So she knew how old her mama was. Yeah, I barely turned 35. And on the mirror on the wall, she's got her friends' names. Such and such loves such and such loves such and such. Like she's keeping count of all the relationships of her best friends. So I do think she had some good friends. And she's got a Harry Potter game up there on her shelf, which is odd, because that doesn't seem like a polygamous type thing that you would give a child. I would feel like that they would think that was sacrilegious or something. Maddie is packing, and you can tell that she's being smart about it because she's got some clothes in a cardboard box and some clothes in luggage, and she's like separating out which one. So you can tell she's like figuring out what she's going to need for the next few days. And so I imagine as a kid in this house, you kind of have to take care of yourself. Like if your parents say go pack, you got to figure out what you're going to take because what you take is all you're going to have. So she's probably making sure she has everything she needs for the next few days. And if this was a rental house, they would totally lose their deposit because Maddie has written phrases all over the wall, handprints, phrases all over the wall. Maddie says if we stay, there's a potential that our dad would go to jail and our family would be split up. And Logan says we're not hurting anyone, we're not challenging anyone, we're not stealing or murdering. And why are they coming after us? Because why? They have no reason. And then it shows Logan, he's packing up the Tupperware in the kitchen. And Maddie says, well, it's like if you have a mistress. Everyone's like, hey, good job, man. You're the man. You're the man. But when a guy decides that he wants to take care of this woman and her children like they were his, it's against the law, which kind of makes sense. Meri is with her mom, and her mom's there. She's helping her pack. And where is everybody else's family? They say they have family, and you don't see any of them. And Meri says that in her closet, she has 26 of her sister's obituaries. And she says, I don't know why I saved 26 of them. Mom and I are sitting here laughing, crying kind of moment because we're sad. And it's been almost 5 years since my sister passed. She was diagnosed with colon cancer and only lived 11 months. And Meri has got boxes. She's got bubble wrap and she's got packing tape. I mean, she is ready. Like, she has really figured this out. And I don't understand if it was Meri and Leon in the same house and Leon already knew that they were going to be moving. I wonder why Meri didn't just go ahead and pack everything. I think she could have discreetly done that way ahead of time. I can understand why the other people didn't do it because they didn't want the little kids to know, but it was just Meri and Leon in that house. They could have discreetly packed a bunch of stuff. So she's saying those obituaries are a way of Teresa saying, hey, I'm here, I'm helping. So they're going to use the newspaper to help pack up some dishes and stuff. Kody says we're moving in a few days and we didn't have a place to go. And Mona finally finds this place. It's a big house, a big yard, everything for the whole family, and we can rent it for a month. So we finally nailed it, but it's not available till Tuesday. So we can't leave till Tuesday morning. He says Janelle isn't actually comfortable with delaying. She wants to get out of here. She's nervous about things and it's a little freaky, but the sheriff drove by today. I've always idolized police and thought, oh, they're the cool guys, but it's kind of puts everybody on pins and needles, I'm afraid to say. And it goes over to Robyn's house, and Christine is at Robyn's house with McKelty helping Robyn pack. What the hell? And she's probably also helping throw Dayton's birthday party. Christine says Aspen texted today, and she and Madison were walking to the gas station. I can hear Madison yelling. Aspen goes, there's a sheriff that's driving up and down our road. Kody says, we're planning on leaving on Monday, but the rental house wasn't available till Tuesday. It gives us a little breathing room. Now this rental is a great place because we're able to rent it out for a month, which gives us time to find homes for everybody and actually get the kids started in school. I haven't talked to all the wives yet. Janelle is good with it. Christine's obviously good with it. Robyn's good with it. And he goes, well, I haven't even asked Robyn, are you good with it? And Robyn says, I'm a little nervous about sharing a kitchen with other wives. And Kody says she doesn't know what it's going to be like at Dayton's birthday. And Dayton's got this bucket of money. And Kody says, hey, you know what? For your birthday, I'm going to give you a $20 bill if you give me a hug. And I have never liked making children give you hugs. I've never made my daughter give relatives hugs. I mean, like, a hug is earned. A hug is something that you give to somebody that you feel comfortable with. You don't say, I'll give you $20 if you give me a hug. Don't say that, Kody. And he goes, everybody's got their price and he ain't cheap. And he goes, well, you can buy some cool stuff for your new room. And he goes, well, I could buy a new game. And Robyn says, or maybe you could buy a dresser. Shut up, Robyn. Good God, this kid does not want to buy a dresser. Buying a dresser is your job, not his job. Why would he use his money to buy a dresser? That is so lame. She is something else. She says, we're doing a birthday party later. And it goes to Leon and Meri. Leon has her back to Meri. Meri's trying to get Leon to turn around, and Leon's ignoring her. And she says Mariah is involved in church quite a bit, and it's extremely hard for her to think about moving away from all that because in Las Vegas, where we're going to go, we don't have a church group down there. Yesterday, Mariah was doing really good as far as her attitude and stuff, and then she was helping to pack, but she packed everything but her room. It really took a lot to get her to even start, just getting out a couple boxes. Leon tells Meri, stop touching me, because Mary's just trying to get her to turn around. She said, you are all over me. With my daughter, I would try to hug all over her, and I would just say, when she wasn't feeling good or she didn't want to talk to me, it really just hurt my feelings, and I would just kind of be in her face and be like, don't you talk to me? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And she'd be like, leave me alone. So I could totally see where Leon's coming from here. There's a baby playing on the stairs in the background, and it is not truly. It is a whole other child. So she must have more family there than we know about. She says, I keep saying to Leon, you got to start packing. I'm doing the best I can, but I don't think it's going to happen. You heard your father. He's answered. Honey, I love you, and I'm sorry this is hard on you. And she's still ignoring Meri. And at this point, just let her be. They're upset. And anything you say right now is just going to make it worse. So just let them be. Let them be. And Kody says, I leave Robyn's house. I get over to the big house and it's like massive confusion. She was saying that we're leaving Tuesday as early as we can stand to because the rental isn't even available until Tuesday. We need to pack like we're going on vacation. Just take the essentials. And they own a trailer, which is a fairly large trailer. And Christine is talking about they need to take the beds. She wants somewhere for her children to sleep. And Meri says, well, how much stuff do you have? I'm not taking any of my stuff, just the essentials for a trip. And Meri says, I'm just sitting here with my mouth gaping because I don't think we should take all this stuff. And Kody says, but even the essentials on this first trip is more than we have capacity to be able to haul. So I've got a little trailer, but it's not quite enough. It just doesn't seem like it's big enough for everything. I want to talk to Janelle about getting something better. Because right now, Janelle is in charge of the money. In the future, she's not in charge of it. But right now, she is. And that's because she probably makes all the money and she makes sure that everything gets paid. And so she is the end all of the budget right now. When they start getting money, she shouldn't have anything to do with it. Right now, she has a tight grip on that budget. And he says he wants to go rent another truck. They've already rented a truck for Robyn. He wants to rent one for this house. Janelle says, I don't want to rent anything. She says, I don't want to draw a lot of attention to ourselves. Kody says, well, too late. Janelle says, we'd originally decided that we would leave on Monday. We wanted to get on the road and get down to where we were going to be staying. And then all of a sudden at the last minute, Kody was like, yeah, let's move Tuesday. And she says, I was about ready to say, well, I'm leaving anyway. I'm going. I'll meet you there. And she tells Kody, you're just going to play it off the cuff like that. And Kody says, you know what? He didn't really finish his sentence. Janelle says, our relationship is struggling right now because I'm so opinionated about what we need and we need to just move. I feel like he's like, whatever, we'll just take it as it comes. And Kody says, there's enough involved in this. I just have to trust fate. And Janelle is truly scared here. And I think it's because reporters are coming to the door and it's an issue. And she starts crying, and you rarely ever see Janelle cry. The only other time I've seen her cry is when Garrison passed away. And here she's crying. She's scared. I have let fear get to me. My children are, and then she stops. She stops talking because she's crying. She's doing all that on the couch. It goes back to them, and Kody says, I don't have enough room in that trailer. I have to get another trailer or a truck. Janelle says, well, look, we're going to be obvious that we're moving if we go and get a moving truck. We take the bunk beds, we take the clothes, and we take the dishes. That's all we need. And Kody stands up and walks out and semi-slams that door. I can't tell if he slammed it. It looked like he slammed it to me. So he is mad. He wanted Janelle to go out and get another moving truck. And that's the thing is that house. I don't know that they must own that house. I don't understand how are they not paying a mortgage on that house? If you can leave things there and you're so dead set on leaving right now, why are you trying to take everything? Kody says, we're trying to move a small army here and I'm going upstairs, downstairs. I'm going all around and everything's kind of like my head's just spinning. It's confusing. He's talking to Christine and he says, everything's going great until I talk to your sister wife. And Christine says, no, she's your wife. And Kody says, no, she's your sister wife right now. And he's complaining about Janelle to Christine. I bet he does this all the time. He talks in this season 20 about triangulation and managing relationships with triangulation. And this is totally what he's doing here. I bet he does this all day long. And David Woolley even says to Christine that polygamous men love to do this, pit the wives against each other. So here he is complaining to Christine about Janelle. And he's telling Christine, this changes our dynamic. The sheriff is double tapping his brakes near the front of our house, and not because the dog is in the street, because in Janelle's head, they're after us. You know what? If something bad's going to happen, my gut would tell me. And you have scared the shit out of your whole family, and now you're getting mad at them because they're acting on that. You put all this in their heads. Why are you acting like you're upset with them because they want to leave? Now you've been pushing, you want to leave, and you've scared them, and you've scared the older kids, and you've scared the wives, and they're like, okay, let's leave. And now he's like, let's wait till Tuesday. Good God. Kody says it's going to be obvious to anybody who's really concerned about it that we're moving by now. In the end, we can only make assumptions unless I get a vibe that we need to leave Monday. I'm sorry. I plan on leaving Tuesday morning. And so he thinks that he's going to get some psychic vibe that the police are coming. And Meri says, why? Because you and Robyn just decided it when you just went over there? No, I'm sorry. I'm just asking. And I bet you she confronts him like this. I hope she did in those early years. Like, is this something that you just decided because you've been hanging out with Robyn? And Janelle says, whether the fear is real or not, or whether it's rational or not, I am worried. And Maddie says, police are driving by again. Aspen says that I think they see the trailer in the driveway right now. And Christine says, we're making decisions based on fear. The police are driving by. We don't know what's going on. Meri says to Kody, we're not trying to make you mad. This is a discussion about whether we're going to leave on Monday or whether we're going to leave on Tuesday. Kody says, I finally just had to say, we're leaving Tuesday. The rental's not even available till Tuesday. It's all about getting kids to the rental. I wonder what their original plan was leaving Monday. Were they going to get a hotel room? What was their plan? They didn't even know when the rental was going to be available till now. Talk about last minute. So it shows Kody, and he's sitting all the wives down. He says, I know everybody's concerned about the sheriff driving by. There's 300 miles between here and Freedom that can stop us anytime, and I'm not hiding. Okay, so in 2 days, 7 a.m., we're out of here. Getting our bodies in the vehicles at 6:30, which will never happen. It doesn't happen that way. And Maddie comes in with Aspen, and Kody sees them together and says, listen, sweetheart, you're going to go with us. Don't be stubborn about it or be mean. And which was kind of mean, telling her not to be mean. They say, well, can we come back? And he says, yeah, you can come back and visit. And Maddie's still looking at him, and she is not impressed. She is pissed. She is so disenchanted with him right now. I wish I knew what the status of this house was. If they own this house, if they have a mortgage on this house. I mean, they say family's going to come take care of it. Does that mean that family's going to move in and take over the mortgage? Why can't they just pack a bag for the week and leave and then come back next weekend and start over? And I don't remember them ever selling that house. Like, they come back to it later because there's some water damage or something. Kody wants Meri to take care of that. And so he says, I tried to be gentle and kind about it. I know, but it's just one of those things. I cannot budge. It shows Leon, and they say, I finally realized that we are moving, and I just kind of have to accept it. And they are just kind of pushing through their words and just crying. She said, and so for the next 2 years until I graduate, I'm going to stay there. It's tough, but we're all in it together. Gave up that fight there, poor thing. Robyn says, well, we're having Dayton's party. We're in the middle of a move. We're having his birthday party, just trying to make him feel special a little bit. And Kody says, when you leave a home that you love in an area that you love, there's a real deep emotion, a connection to that place. And the house has been magic. And so to leave it saying goodbye is not easy. And Aspen is trying to move a bed frame by herself. And she's calling for Peyton because she can't pick up the whole thing by herself. And Christine says he's looking for the keys to the Suburban because I think they've lost the keys to the Suburban somewhere in all this mess. And so Peyton can't help you because he's looking for the keys. It shows Kody and Meri, and they're in the corner of the house outside. And if you listen real close and turn up your headphones, you can hear him semi-yell, I'm not even packed. He's not even packed. Why is he not packed? He could have packed himself without the kids noticing a long time ago. I don't understand that. It shows Logan, and he's panicking, and he's in the boys' room, and he goes, oh my God, there's just not enough time. And he's packing stuff into cardboard boxes. Everything's amped up because Christine says TMZ, y'all remember TMZ? TMZ just found out that we're moving. And so we're going to have to leave first thing tomorrow morning, which would be Monday morning. They were going to leave Tuesday, but now they're going to leave Monday because now it's going to become national news that they're leaving. So they're like, we got to go. Which at some point that does make sense because if it's national news that they're leaving, then every press person is going to be in your yard filming you packing up your house. She's like, we got to go. We got to go. And she does the most impressive thing. She is talking to the camera, does not stop her words at all. And she is writing on a box with a black Sharpie. She writes living room the whole time that she's talking about something else. I don't know about you, but I cannot write something else while I'm saying something else. Like if I write something, I gotta focus on that I'm writing that. How can you write words and say words? And you see Christine, and she just like amps it up. She steps it up. She's like the leader. She's taking charge. It was very impressive because she's like, TMZ just called, and she's like, okay, enough of this nonsense. We got to kick it into gear. She has gone into boss mode. She's got diapers and wipes by the door. She's got a little plastic box that she's putting all of her important stuff in. Janelle's standing there, and she says, they're going to post the story in 24 hours. That's very stressful. We have to be careful. We were going to clean. We're not going to clean anymore. Everything like that we were going to do, we're not going to do it. We're having family come in. They're going to take care of the house. And she looks at Janelle and says, get Logan in that trailer and get the kids, start taking boxes out now. And Janelle says, okay, yes, ma'am. And she goes out the door. Like, finally, she's like, thank God somebody's taking over. And she is speaking quickly, efficiently. We're going to do this, this, and this. It's going to happen. And all the kids jump into mode. I was very impressed, especially with that talking and writing at the same time. I don't think I could do that. And poor Savannah, she is like digging through some laundry on the floor, looking for some little underwear. And I don't know if that laundry's clean or dirty or whatever. She's like totally on her own. She is always on her own. It reminds me when they were climbing that rock mountain thing and she's all by herself while Robyn's screaming at Brianna and Aurora to sit down, and Savannah's just walking up the mountain by herself. She even screams, "Here I am!" So here she is trying to pick underwear out of this laundry, which could be clean. I don't know, but it's on the floor, just packing for herself. She's probably gonna have 2 pair of underwear for the whole month. Who knows? Nobody knows. And it shows Logan in the trailer. And we're gonna have to give Logan some grace here because they have worked this child up. They have put so much responsibility on him. He has started yelling. He is like, they're bringing in boxes, and most of the boxes say Peyton's toys. And the whole point of leaving right now and just taking the essentials, and he is like, I've got to pack this entire family's essentials. And all of these say Peyton's toys. And poor Peyton, who's already traumatized about moving, he yells at Peyton, "We're not bringing your worthless toys," which was so mean on Logan's part. Poor Peyton was probably just told to pack up his room, and he just started bringing stuff out. They probably didn't tell those kids, "Look, you get 1 box." They probably didn't tell them anything. There was probably no organization at all. And poor Logan here is just flying by the seat of his pants trying to pack this entire trailer by himself and make sure that everything in it is a necessity and something that they need. So when he yells at Peyton, we're going to give him grace. We're going to give him a pass. But poor Peyton, I hated that for him. His toys just got called worthless. It wasn't really his fault. He's already traumatized. Let's not yell at the poor boy. Christine says the big house in Utah is just being left. We've got tons of family in the area who can watch over it and keep it safe, but we're leaving in such a rush that we don't have the time to do anything in it. Robyn's house is rented. We don't own that house. We need to completely move her out. And it's got Gabe and Garrison, 2 9-year-olds, moving whole ass mattresses by themselves. Gwen is carrying a box spring by herself. Savannah has a huge rolled up comforter on her head, dragging it to the trailer. I mean, it is nuts. And it goes to Robyn, and she is casually in her room getting her dried out roses, dried out flower headbands for her girls. And she's wearing her Las Vegas hat, and her plan is finally coming together. And she is not in a rush at all. And she's crying, and she goes, "This is not the America that I learned about in school." Make sure that's in the book. I got a book here. I'm keeping up with all the cries. Let's see. Yeah, crime number 12. This is not the America I learned about when I was in school. So here she is. She can turn on them tears in a heartbeat. Kody and Maddie come out, and they're carrying boxes, and I strongly suspect this is Kody's stuff. So he finally has his stuff together, and the poor dog, and the dog is so confused. Like, that dog is probably saying, "I have never seen these people move so fast before. What is happening?" He didn't realize he's about to get left with a bunch of strangers. They're back to Robyn's house, and there's a humongous rental van. This thing is humongous, and they're loading that up, and Meri is helping pack that up. And she says, "We need to get the rest of Robyn's stuff in." And apparently what they did was when they finished packing their house, they drove over to Robyn's house, and we're going to finish packing her up. And Kody came and parked their trailer in front of the house and left. And he has the keys with him. He is not thinking at all. And you don't really see him helping to pack anything but his own stuff. It's crazy. Janelle is pissed. She is pissed. She says it is brain damage to move this group. And Meri's on the phone with Kody, and she goes, "We're just going to send Janelle back. We'll get the keys. It's fine." The director asked Janelle, you can hear him. He goes, "What's going on? What's so hard?" Janelle looks at him, so "We should be done. There is stuff. There is space. Just get in the damn car and let's go." Kody says this is the most emotionally packed experience this family has ever had. And this is the most played scene. Some people say that it didn't really happen like this, but they hear a siren and it shows Meri turning around and she's all panicked. And she's trying to close the trailer back as quick as they can, and the kids are trying to stuff all the stuff into the trailer. A Redditor said that is a fire truck siren. And they're right. It is not a police siren. It's a fire truck siren. It's one of those long sirens. It wasn't even a police siren. They're freaking out over a fire truck. A fire truck is not coming to arrest you. These kids have been worked into a frenzy. It's horrible. Kody says the police siren goes by, which is a lie. Everybody starts to panic. I'm like, this is getting spooky. It's not good. And we're being paranoid. Let's just pray. He gathers up everybody. And Christine asks, okay, so what's the goal? Where are we going right now? Which is an excellent question. Kody says we're going to drive until we can't stand it anymore, until our navels are scratching our back. We're in a situation that we're almost under duress. I just want to bring the family together and bring that peace that comes with asking God to help us accomplish this trip. I don't understand why Robyn had to have this whole ass moving van. Why did she just take some stuff over to the big house to store? Why did she have to take everything she owned today? She could have shared that moving van with the rest of the family. Do you know what I mean? They knew they were leaving. She could have gotten some stuff ahead of time and started putting it over at the big house to store. But the thing is Robyn wanted all of her stuff. She didn't want any of her stuff left behind because that was her goal. Get to Vegas where her daddy is, get a rental house in the school district, be there for the kids to start, and start making a baby with Kody. That was her goal. So they packed up everything she owned, which went all into that rental van and into some of their trailer. So you have this trailer with everybody else's stuff in it, and then you have them trying to cram Robyn's stuff in there too, which is ridiculous. It shows Kody on the couch, and I realized they pulled back a little bit, and he's wearing that Utah State wrestling hoodie. He wears it all the time. He is stuck in high school. That was 25 years ago. You need to be a big man now. And why didn't Robyn pack her own house? Why is she having everybody come over and pack her house? I guarantee she didn't help them pack. So why is everybody over there? She gets away with so much. And it shows them praying, bless us this night as we travel, and that the children will be protected. That's what he prays for. And Christine is on the couch and she says, the thought came to me that the reason why we decided to do this was because we didn't want our kids to live in fear like we lived in fear. And now if we stay, we get broken up. They raise their kids in fear, just like we were raised in fear. And Robyn says, I think we're just being a little naive. And Christine said, we're being hopeful. And Meri says, I really, really just figured that things have changed since then. I mean, that we would be more accepted. And Kody says, well, things have changed. Things are very different than they were. Janelle says, yeah, we are openly embraced by many people. Christine says, well, people have changed. The laws haven't changed, and we're still stuck. We're still stuck because that hasn't changed. And again, the laws concerning polygamy haven't changed, but they have a policy that they don't pursue polygamy alone. So they're running because other things have been done, such as misrepresenting the family structure to obtain government assistance. They don't mention that at all. And there's this creepy song that plays in the background. And it turns out that this is the song that the Mormons sing. And it's called I'll Be a Sunbeam. The lyrics are, Jesus wants me for a sunbeam to shine for him each day in every way to try to please him at home, at school, at play. Jesus wants me to be loving and kind to all I see, showing how pleasant and happy his little one can be. I will ask Jesus to help me to keep my heart from sin, ever reflecting his goodness and always shine for him. Which is kind of creepy because it's talking about that Jesus wants you to be loving and kind and pleasant and happy. If you listen to the words, it's got a lot of hidden smile and hide it and smile and fake it meanings to it. And Kody says, we're trying to leave Utah for good. We don't get 11 or 12 miles and all of a sudden problems. Robyn says, I get this light flashing on Kody's car and I'll pull off. And as I got off, you can see where the tire had pretty much come off the rim. And Kody says, well, I'll bring Logan with me. And when we get there, the tire's shredded. And it's not shredded. It's not shredded at all. And that even shows him taking it off and it's still all in one piece. You remember David and Christine moving across country and they were taking that trailer behind with Tony's car on it and that tire was shredded. It looked like spaghetti. They're just so dramatic with their words. Even now to this day, I just covered the episode where Kody came off his four-wheeler and she's talking about he had this road rash and it took off a couple layers of skin and he had like a 4-inch dirt smear on his elbow. They are so dramatic. So it wasn't shredded, but you did see where it was kind of coming off the rim a little bit. And Kody's having a horrible time getting lug nuts off these cars. Daddy Logan looks at Kody and says, "Do you want me to do that while you talk to the cameras?" He is just being as helpful as he can be. And Cody's like, "No, no, no, I'll do it. I'll do it." I think he just wanted to look manly for the cameras. He says that they grind the lug nut off and they go to the tire place, and it's actually Walmart. And he mentions that it's Martin Luther King Day. And in 2011, Martin Luther King Day was January 17th, which was his birthday. It was his birthday that day. They just didn't celebrate it that day. So a lot of businesses are closed. Christine says Kody is going to take one of the cars back and go buy a tire. I guess the thing about it is we're not only just taking care of the tire, but I have kids in the car with me, and they are only 11 or 12 miles down the road. Well, I'll tell you what, 11 or 12 miles down the road for me is a trip to Walmart. I don't think that I would, if all that happened, I would find a way to get back home, fix it later. It is dark. They closed down Walmart, which means it's probably 9 o'clock at night getting this tire. And Robyn says, so we're sitting there and taking the kids out of the sports car, putting them in Janelle's car. It takes them over to Meri and Janelle and Christine where they're all hanging out. Kody says, we finally end up at the department store and they don't have the size tires I was supposed to have. That's the tricky part. It fits, but we don't have the size that we need, but this size will work. It's bigger than what is allowed, and so we're cheating. So it's an expensive tire for nothing. But I want to get out of here. So basically, they got into town, had a flat tire, and now they're going through all this. I would have turned around and went back home, been like, we'll just do this tomorrow. It's like 9 o'clock at night. We're like, the house is right there. If you look over there, our house is over there. All right. So 2 hours later, we finally get both of these tires fixed because we had to replace the other one to match them up because they're not the right size. So he had to buy 2 tires. So I guess so the axle would be straight. And he tells Logan to start the car up for him. We get that done and we start driving again. It's only been a mile and Christine gets a flat tire on the van. He says, I just came unglued. And I think he came unglued because it was Christine. Had it been Robyn driving that van, he would not have come unglued, but he came unglued because it was Christine driving that van. He says, I started getting angry, and he tells Christine on the couch, I wasn't angry at you. It was just the situation. He says, I turned into a sailor for a minute. And I was like, holy cow, I cannot believe this is happening. I've already closed the department store. The only place in the entire county that I can get a tire is closed. Daddy Logan says, we've only made it 25 miles in 3 hours. And so Kody says, I call everybody and I tell them to pull over and wait. Robyn, who's a little bit funny here, she tells Meri, we did pray before we left, right? We did. She tells Meri, it's good for our faith, right? Which is a little bit funny. I'll give that to Robyn. Kody says the problem, though, with this spare is one of those tires you can only go a few miles on. Well, the spare in Janelle's car is actually a full spare, and they have the same lug nut system. And I'm like, I'm going to put that one on. Huge mistake. As soon as I started driving, it was a weird noise. It was more of a weird pull, and it wasn't right anymore. It wasn't a good fit. So now I realize I've got to go back to their bad spare tire idea. I try to take off the lug nut, and it breaks. I start taking the next one off. It breaks. And I know darn well that every one of them are going to break. What am I supposed to do? I was just trying to decide if it was a sign that I was not supposed to go. Vegas is only 6 hours away. They've been gone for 4 hours and only made it for 20 miles. And we're like, you know what? That 20 miles was too hard earned. We got up this hill and we're not giving up this hill. And so they're only 20 miles away from their house. Why did they go get a hotel? It just blows me away. But I asked my husband, I said, why is he having so many problems with these lug nuts? Why are they breaking off? He's not sure, but he thinks because the tire was the wrong size and they rode on it, did something to those lug nuts. And so they're not going to come off easily now because they rode on an imbalanced axle. And that's why it's hard to get the lug nuts off. That's what he thinks. He doesn't know for sure. So Kody is causing all these problems for himself. Kody says what's crazy is the answer was so simple. Janelle says, we reserved a room just down the freeway a little bit, so we'll just go there and we'll try again tomorrow. And Cody's like, yeah, this is so easy. Let's just go to the next exit, stay at this hotel, because at the very next exit, there's a tire place, which blows me away. They're only 20 miles away from their house. Why are they getting a hotel? They could go back home. They are dead set on not going back home. And I bet you TLC is paying for these tires and paying for this hotel. And this camera crew is pissed. They've been sitting here filming all this, and they're not even doing anything or going anywhere. They say it's 6 hours later, and they left in the dark from the house. And so I guess they were going to drive through the night. That's the only thing I could figure out. And so if that's 6 hours later, then it's now around midnight. It shows them the next day. They're at the Best Western, and Logan says, yeah, we need to get going. So now it's Tuesday. And I guess they don't want to go back to the house because press might be there. So that kind of makes sense. I guess I just thought about that. And Kody says, we'd had all the breakdowns last night. We got a new tread on a couple tires this morning. We're ready to rock and roll. We travel down another 200 miles, which takes us about 4 hours. So that means that they're only going 50 miles an hour. Why does it take you 4 hours to get 200 miles? He says, we're almost to Cedar City, and I start feeling my trailer wobbling. And now his trailer has a flat tire. He says, everybody pulls off the freeway with me, so the whole family's lined up there. The highway state trooper pulls over behind them. He's a good guy. He's just making sure we're safe. He wants us to keep the kids off the road, so he's just more concerned about our safety. So I imagine those kids got out of the car and they were just kind of playing on the side of the road. I imagine some of them probably had to pee and they're peeing in the woods over there. So the state trooper's like, you need to get your kids off the road. Good God. It shows Christine and she's starting to lose it a little bit. And I don't blame Christine here because what's happening? What's happening is that Meri is in a humongous van that is a rental and is running well because it's a rental. They don't own it. They ain't had a chance to tear it up. It's running well. It's quiet. All she's got is Leon over there. Quiet, quiet setting. Robyn is there with her kids and they're asleep. They're knocked out. Every time you look over, they're just sound asleep. So they're doing good. And then here's Christine with the rest of the kids. She is dealing with the rest of the kids and an infant, and she starts to get upset. And she says, we got to feed these kids. They're all upset. And Kody says, listen, we're trying to do this and we're trying hard. Christine says, I had a huge breakdown at that point. I know I've been with the kids, listening to how hungry they are, how tired they are. It was a completely different mindset for me. And she looks at Kody and says, I understand you want to get on the road, but we got to feed these kids. We need to feed them. And Kody says, no. I'm sorry, I'm getting closer and closer to the idea that maybe Child Protective Services does need to be called. At least let me come get Savannah. You know, Lord. But he says, we're only 60 miles from the Nevada border. My stubbornness is set in. My neck is stiff. And I'm like, listen, this is something we've tried. We just got to keep going. And he is so damn stubborn. And Meri, that bitch, she goes, well, I was in my truck. It was very quiet. And when I came up over the hill and I saw all the lights, I just thought, this is home. Now I think that's it. We're almost past the border. And these people, the police can still arrest you across the border. This isn't Mexico. This is Utah and then Nevada. Police can still arrest you. They can still call Nevada police and say, hey, they're on your side now, arrest them. And Nevada police has every right to do that. I don't know why they think if they get across the border, then that's it. Which makes me think that maybe Utah had this deal with Kody, like, you just need to leave the state. If you leave the state, we'll drop it. That's what's going on here. Kody asked Meri, did it make you feel happy? Meri said, yeah, I was calm, really, really calm. Meri is such a bitch. Why didn't she trade places with Christine? Why can't Christine get in that quiet truck with Truly and Meri drive that van for a while? Why is Christine stuck doing all the hard stuff? Why is she stuck doing that? It's not fair at all. And for Meri to go, yeah, I was in the van by myself. It was great. And Kody said, Vegas is a safe place for religious tolerance and religious freedom. Vegas is my Plymouth Rock. All I want is religious freedom. We get into Vegas and we get into the vacation rental. I still hadn't settled down because I knew I still had a lot to do. I was glad to be there all together. And he said, we had to sign some paperwork with Mona, our real estate agent. And Mona, it reminds me of that guy on the last episode when they went to the cabin at Christmas and he had been sitting there for 6 hours waiting on the family to come get these snowmobiles that they rented in -7-degree weather, waiting on Kody and his family. I wonder how long Mona was sitting there waiting on this family. At least a day. So she meets them at this rental house, and it's like the middle of the night. And so they're getting this paperwork signed. And she says, I've highlighted every place you need to initial or sign. And Kody says, I'm sitting down there and we're going through a discussion on contract and all that stuff. And I almost don't care. It's peaceful enough place, mixed feelings. I really don't know what the next day holds other than peace. Meri says, we've ended that chapter in our lives in Utah, and now we're just starting this new chapter, and we'll see what it holds for us. Kody says, a long time ago, I looked up to the heaven and I said to God, have you got my back? And he says, on my 43rd birthday, he said, yep, I do. This is January 17th, 2011. He was born January 17th, 1969. So why does he think he's 43? Did y'all catch that? He's 42. He's 42. He says that God told him on his 43rd birthday. It's right here in the transcripts. God told him on his 43rd birthday that he did have his back. But he ain't 43 yet. He's 42. This man don't even know how old he is. Anyway. And Maddie, just like Hunter crying and Peyton crying and all these kids crying. Maddie, this is another terrible moment. Maddie is sitting there in the corner of the room just staring at all the adults, just filling out the paperwork, just staring vacant. And the director walks over to her and says, "What's wrong?" She looks at him. She says, "Really? I hate it here." And in the saddest, quietest voice, she says, "I just want to go home." I mean, it makes me want to cry right now. She was so, they have traumatized these kids. And they start playing the Sunbeam song again. And it shows all the kids and it shows Logan passed out in a bed. You know, I'm starting to see why Logan hasn't had any kids yet. He has been married for a while and they have not had any kids. I bet you he has no intentions of having any kids. He has raised enough kids. I mean, I don't know. Poor Logan just laying in that bed. And poor Maddie. Oh my God. When she looked at that camera in the quietest voice and said, "I just want to go home." I just wanted to hug that child. It was just horrible. I don't understand these people. I don't understand them at all. It's one thing to move around a lot whenever your kids are little, but when they're teenagers and they have a support group and they have friends and they have activities and you pull them out of schools, it's kind of a big deal, especially if you don't have to. There is no reason why Kody and Robyn couldn't have just left, taken that one big rental van and him drive behind in his Lexus and drive down to Vegas by themselves into a rental house that she probably has already found, which is going to be available Friday. Imagine that. 3 days later, she found a rental house. But anyway, so that's it for that episode. And this is where I come up with my tell-all question. And I think I would just sit the kids down and say, "Do you remember how upset you were that you had to move? And do you think that it was worth it? Do you think it was worth it that you moved?" Because there are some big questions. When they moved, they were exposed to a whole new way of life. They were given a little bit of money. They weren't desperately poor anymore. And they got away from that kind of oppressive religion aspect. Because I feel like if they had stayed there, the chances of them getting into polygamy would have been higher. Um, so I feel like ultimately it was a good move to move away, but I don't think it anyway had to be done like it was done. The way that it was done in this episode is borderline traumatic. The kids are starving. They have nowhere to sleep. I mean, it was just irresponsible parenting all the way around. Even the people that I love, like Janelle and Christine, I'm like, come on. At what point do you put your foot down? And Christine go, "Look, I'm getting a hotel and going by McDonald's. This is some shit." You know? At what point do you say, "No, this isn't right. We can't treat our kids like this"? So I would sit the kid down and say, "What are your feelings now? Do you wish y'all would have just stayed in Lehigh?" That's what I would ask them. But it'd be really interesting to see what they say about that. But anyway, I appreciate y'all listening to me, and I'll see y'all next time.
That's it for today. If you like my podcast, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to reach me, you can always reach me at redflagrewatch@gmail.com. Thank you for joining me today. See you next time.
I told my wife she should embrace her mistakes, and then she gave me a hug. I told my wife she should embrace her mistakes, and then she gave me a hug. How do you throw a party in outer space? How do you throw a party in outer space? You plan it. You're welcome. I'll see myself out. I'll see you next time.